Foundations of Amateur Radio. Recently, a budding new amateur asked the question, "What radio should I buy?" It's a common question, one I asked a decade ago. Over the years, I've made several attempts at answering this innocent introduction into our community, and as I've said before, the answer is simple but unhelpful. It depends. Rather than explaining the various things it depends on, I'm going to attempt a different approach, and in no particular order, ask you some things to consider and answer for yourself in your journey towards an answer that is tailored specifically to your situation. What's your budget? How much money you have set aside for this experiment is a great start. In addition to training and license costs, you'll need to consider things like shipping, import duties and insurance, power leads and a power supply, coax leads and connectors, and last but not least, adapters, antennas and accessories. Should you buy second-hand or pre-loved? If you have electronics experience that you can use to fix a problem with your new-to-you toy, this is absolutely an option. When you're looking around, check the provenance associated with the equipment and avoid something randomly offered online with sketchy photos and limited information. Equipment is expensive. Check for stolen gear and unscrupulous sellers. What do you want to do? This hobby is vast. You can experiment with activities, locations, modes and propagation, to name a few. If you're looking at a specific project, consider the needs for the accompanying equipment, like a computer, if what you want to explore requires that. You can look for the annual Amateur Radio Survey by Dustin, November 8 Romeo Mike Alpha, to read what others are doing. What frequencies do you want to play on? If you have lots of outdoor space, you'll have many options to build antennas from anything that radiates. But if you're subject to restrictions because of where you live, you'll need to take those into account. You can also operate portable in a car or on a hill, so you have plenty of options to get away from needing a station at home. Are there other amateurs around you? If you're within line of sight of other amateurs or a local repeater, then you should consider if you can start there. If that doesn't work, consider using HF or explore space communications. There are online tools to discover repeaters and local amateurs. Is there a club you can connect to? Amateur radio clubs are scattered far and wide across the planet, and it's likely there's one not too far from you. That said, there are plenty of clubs that interact with their members remotely. Some even offer remote access to the club Radio Shack using the internet. Have you looked for communities to connect with? There is plenty of amateur activity across the spectrum of social media, dedicated sites, discussion groups, email lists, and chat groups. You can listen to podcasts, watch videos, read ebooks, and if all that fails, your local library will have books about the fundamental aspects of our hobby. Have you considered what you can do before spending money? Figuring out the answers to many of these questions requires that you are somewhat familiar with your own needs. You need a radio to become an amateur, but you need to be an amateur to choose a radio. To get started, you don't need a radio. If you already have a license, you can use tools like Echolink with a computer or a mobile phone. If you don't yet have a license, you can listen to online services like WebSDR, Kiwi SDR, and plenty of others. You can start receiving using a cheap RTL SDR dongle and some wire. Which brand should you get? Rob, November Charlie 0 Bravo, has been testing radios for longer than I've been an amateur. His Sherwood testing table contains test results for 151 devices. The top three, ICOM, Kenwood and Yaesu, count for more than half of those results. This means that you'll likely find more information, more support, and more local familiarity with those three. I will point out that Rob's list has 27 different brands on it, so look around and read reviews both by people who test the gear and those who use it. And finally, why are you here? It's a serious question. Different things draw different people into this community. Think about what you like about it and what you want to do more of. Take those things into consideration when you select your radio. As you explore the answers to these questions, you'll start building a picture of what amateur radio means to you, and with that will come the answer to the question, what radio should I buy as my first one? If there are other questions you'd like to ask, don't hesitate to get in touch. My address is cq@vk6flab.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm Ono, Victor Kilo 6, Foxtrot Lima, Alpha Bravo.